Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is, whatever time it is, sorry, wherever you are in the world. Good morning and hello. Welcome to another episode of The Moment. This is a girly episode today because I'm joined with my bestie, lovely Sarah Taylor, who she's been on the show a few times before, and she always brings a sense of possibility, levity, kindness, masses of kindness, and she's got the just sparkliest sense of humor I've ever come across. So yeah, we'll bring her on in a sec. Just before I do, let us know where you're watching from today, what's coming up for you, what's on your mind, because one of the things we're going to be talking about today is how does it feel when your eyes are opened to a new reality? There's a lot of stuff going on right now that I'm aware of around the world, and also sort of in my personal life, but also in the lives of the people that I care about, that, you know, we're opening our eyes to new possibilities and ideas. And like, how do we cope with that? Like, what goes on? What's the process? So what I'm going to do now is bring Sarah on, and we'll just see where this conversation takes us. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, really great. Thanks. I always love having a conversation with you because, you know, we never know exactly where it's going to go. We have an idea, like we might set a topic, but what I love about you is how you are able to expand on any of my perspectives and take us on a whole new sort of trajectory. So the first thing that I want to ask you is, because this came from you when we're in a conversation, like, how does it feel when your eyes are open to a new reality? Where did that come from? Like, have you been noticing that coming up recently?
Yeah, I think everybody says they'd like to be more aware.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be a misconception that more awareness is fun and a jolly thing. Um, you might be able to hear in the background the alarm for San Martino. I apologize if you can't.
No, I can't hear it yet.
Okay. Um, so yeah, there might be this misconception. It's like, yeah, I want to know, I want to be able to see more, I want to be more aware, I want to understand maybe dynamics behind things. And then once you're, as we say, when your eyes are opened, it's like, wait a minute, like I didn't know it was going to be like crappy. Sometimes it isn't, but sometimes it is. And I think that's a thing that I wanted to talk about, is that, right, just because you become more aware of something, it doesn't mean that it's pleasant.
Yeah. Right.
And a lot of times it can be very unpleasant because maybe we haven't, we weren't aware of, when you're aware of everything.
Yeah.
So you're aware of the good and all the things that you might perceive as bad. And it can throw you into a real, it can throw you into a bit of a crisis.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, how do we, like, because one thing that I'm aware of is when we get thrown into a crisis because we've become aware of something. Does that crisis necessarily mean that our new awareness is a bad awareness?
I don't really, no, I don't think so. I think the point of view we attach to what we know, we
Yeah.
can give it a judgment that it's bad. Being aware of something that's unpleasant allows you, for both pleasant and unpleasant, we're always in the position to choose. And so you have to remember that you always have a choice. You might not like all the choices, but there's always a
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can show choices that don't feel fluffy.
Yeah.
That being said, I like to always have a little bit of a positive spin on things. On the
Yeah.
other side of that extreme discomfort If you just ride the wave, just wait, then there can be something really amazing on the other side of that. Because usually right before we have a breakthrough, there's a contraction. And I would call this a type of contraction, like your eyes have been opened, you see something, you decide that you don't feel good about it, or you have a feeling about it. It's probably best to just ride it out. Wait. You don't need to be making any big decisions right then. You just maybe take that pause or that just stop that I talked about, and just wait a little bit and see, it might shift on its own. But I've been aware of a lot of things. I've been made aware of things that I didn't like. And, sometimes there's awareness of, oh, I can hear the trees singing. And then there's the other awareness of, this is not pleasant. This feels like awful, or I don't like this, or this thing I thought was amazing is not as amazing as I thought. But it's like, if you want to be aware, you're going to be aware of all of it. The good stuff and the bad stuff.
What I like about that is it reminds me of that phrase that I've heard you say before, I think, where everything is welcome and nothing is judged. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I mean, consciousness. Consciousness is where you receive everything and you judge nothing. So that's the true consciousness, is you're an observer. You receive it all and you judge. Because if I say, I've used this example before many times, but let's say you have an aversion to dog poop.
I do. I don't like it.
And you don't want to step in it. Everywhere you go, you're stepping in dog poo.
Yeah.
So if you include dog poo in your world, you'll stop stepping in it all the time. You have to include it in your reality, that it exists, that it actually should be there. And when you do that, you can make different decisions.
Right.
So when you receive everything, go ahead.
I was going to say, so like, for instance, I might not like the idea of not having enough money, or I might not like the idea of feeling insecure. Like feeling that I'm not entirely sure where I fit in. If I'm focusing on the discomfort of it, I'm not allowing for it. But when I allow for it, it kind of eases off.
It's all okay. Is basic. It's all okay. Like, you have to, allow for it. Say, oh, this is interesting that I feel this way right now.
Yeah.
It's if not to say there isn't any, your feelings are feelings about things, but they're not everything, because you can feel a certain way about something right now. And then in a day, the exact same fact could be there and you don't feel the same way about it because you've changed.
Yeah.
So everything that's going on is, in general, about awareness. It's not personal to us. It feels like it's personal. We have a personal relationship with it. We have a point of view with it.
Yeah.
But it's not personal. But we will see the things that we focus on.
Right.
So if I have something that I'm particularly annoyed about today, I'm probably going to see it in the people that I end up running into.
Yeah.
So I get to keep that in place. I'm making it solid. So not sure where I'm going exactly with this, other than everything that is taking place is information.
Yeah.
And we aren't going to be happy about all the things that are going on. And you always have a choice to your, I guess, long-term reaction.
Yeah.
After 3 minutes, so if you have a negative emotion,
Mhm.
but try to put a timer on it and just say,
Seriously?
"Yeah, I'm gonna let this happen for 3 minutes. I'm gonna go
Okay.
into it whole hog. I'm gonna do, like, ticked off like I've never done ticked off before, but I'm only gonna do it for 3 minutes."
What's the significance of 3 minutes?
Because when you do it longer than 3 minutes, you start changing the chemistry of your body.
Ah. Ooh.
So, it's about valuing yourself enough to say, "Yes, I'm going to indulge this." You
Mhm.
give yourself, I mean, and this is just an opinion that I
Mhm.
have, but it's like, it does actually, start changing the chemistry of your body. I won't go into more about that because I don't know how much of it is, like, ancient Chinese secrets or but basically, it's a 3
Yeah.
if you can set a 3-minute time limit and
Mm.
physically set a timer if you need to remind
Mm.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important. Really important because we're not really taught to manage our emotions. We're taught that, well, it's interesting because, we see lots of things. I mean, I grew up watching movies and stuff and loved it. And, um, and obviously we used to all watch like MTV, didn't we? Like watch these
Mhm,
music videos, and they're always trying to create a sense of emotion and reaction. They're all telling a story, and it's
mhm,
a story with high emotions and this, that, and the other. And I think a lot of people feel really entitled to their emotions, like they deserve to feel the way they do because they've had the trauma in their life that means they should be feeling like this. There's almost like a glamorization of emotions, I think, in
mhm.
modern society. I think that's probably what um, hinders actually the idea of meditation or equanimity, like the idea of being sort of equanimous, like being quite balanced and not really ecstatic, but definitely not really traumatized. That sort of like even keel point just doesn't look so exciting, doesn't look so glamorous, but presumably that would keep us in the best health or the best body state.
Well, what comes to mind as you say that
Mhm,
is if I stay in an emotion about something,
mhm.
does it feel like I'm doing something about it?
Hang on, run that past me again.
So, like, if something just occurred.
You see, I'm just getting closer to the
Yeah, me
computer.
too, I'm getting closer too. So
Feels like
something just
we're sharing deep secrets.
so something just happened,
Mm,
and I don't stay in the emotion that I initially felt. So
mhm.
let's say I'm upset. If
Yeah,
I don't stay in upset, does that mean that in some way I'm saying, "Well, I'm not upset anymore about that," or it's because if you stay
oh,
upset, it feels like you're. I think there's this thing where we feel like we're doing something about it. We're
yeah,
resolving it,
yeah.
or, um, any time that you're thinking and stinking is
Yes,
what
I
I
like that.
like,
Mm,
if you're taking something and, staying in the emotion of it,
mhm.
um, after 3 minutes, I mean, you've done all you needed to do with the emotion. You recognize the emotion, you have a a blurt out for a bit or whatever it is you need to do, cry,
Yeah,
scream, yell, punch, whatever. After 3 minutes, if you keep doing it, now you're changing your being.
right.
And so but I think for me in the past, I have stayed with an emotion. Okay, I'll give you an
Mm,
example.
okay.
So, right around Christmas was always, a bit of a triggery time for me
Mhm.
based on blah, 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 my story from childhood and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And so but I did genuinely feel like I might be slipping into a little bit of a depression, which like, "Oh,
Mm,
I don't wanna get dressed today. I just
mm,
I feel this way, I feel that way." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do this for, in this case, a week.
mhm,
I'm gonna stop trying to fight the fact that I feel this way, make myself wrong for it. I'm
mhm.
just gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it with gusto." I'm going to do depression like no one's ever done depression before. I'm not going to shower. I'm not going to eat properly. I'm going to do all, and boy, oh boy, I'm going to really do it. And then eventually you get to a point where you're tired of being so mean to yourself.
Yeah.
You'll say, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore.
Mm.
What I'm saying is you don't need to go a whole week.
No.
You can set a time, even if you go back into it, it's at least making you aware, okay, I've done this for 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to make anybody wrong for being upset.
Mm.
And if that's what people want to do or feel like they need to do, what I'm saying is you're not condoning behavior
Yeah.
if you're not upset about it anymore.
Yes. I think that's an important distinction, actually, Sarah, because I think people are very loyal to their history of what's happened and their emotional history and what's gone on and this, that, and the other. However, what you're sharing here is showing people that they have a choice. And that's what you were saying right at the start. So I'm guessing that is what you mean. Like, you have a choice. Are you going to continuously bring yourself down and bring your body out of balance? Or are you going to choose to recognize that situation may not have been okay for you, and yet you're making a choice to feel differently?
Well, yes. Yeah. I mean, there's this, it's like when you come out of reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So a feeling is a feeling, but is it a reactive? Is it a reaction? Is it, you can look at that if you want to. But I have literally just done this myself. And I've done it many times where I've been really upset about something that felt unresolved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't feel like it's resolved yet. So therefore, if it's not resolved yet, I need to continue to stay upset about it. Or
Yeah.
I need to, because it's not resolved, and, I'll tear my dress.
Mm.
I'll like do
I
stuff
pull
to
my
my,
feathers out. I
yeah, I'll
pull
pull
my
my
tail
feathers
feathers
out,
out when
like,
I'm
I'll
like
slap my own face, like, "You'll be sorry."
that. Yeah. That is exactly what I do.
And so, like, because it's really something we're doing it's being upset is we're after 3 minutes,
Mm.
maybe somebody needs to know we're upset,
Yeah.
but and this is just something to play with. Like, it's something to play with. If I set a timer on this, and it's about including yourself in the equation. After 3 minutes, I know this hurts me
Mm.
to stay this way. In some way, but if you can come out of reaction and go into action,
Mm-hmm.
so what would it take to come out of reaction and go into action, which just means you see choices clearly.
Yeah.
Because reaction, you see nothing. You're like pulling your feathers out.
Mm.
You're, go look at yourself in the mirror. I mean, sometimes I'm just picturing myself doing that right now.
I know my children talk about my face, and I never know what they're talking about, but they're like, "Mum, you're doing that face again." What face? But there's a face I pull apparently when I'm not very happy, and it's called the face in the Munson household. I've yet to
Really?
catch myself in it. Because the moment I look at myself in the mirror, I always go to smile. I've
Yes.
conditioned myself to smile. So I never really catch myself in it. But I suspect it's got a bit of this going on, like with my frown.
I
But
wonder what would happen if you kept a little pocket mirror with you and just held it up when you're pissed, when
yeah.
you're upset. Just look at yourself. You might start
Yeah.
laughing.
Yeah, probably would actually.
But yeah, I think when you're in reaction, you don't see any choices.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how you know you're in reaction, I guess. So,
Mhm.
and this is perfect actually, because this is what I wanted to ask you about. Like, how do you know you're in reaction? And then what questions, once we realize we're in reaction and we have a choice,
Mhm.
what do you have a few questions that we could use on ourselves as a tool to
Yeah.
be able to walk ourselves out of it? So first bit, how do you know when you're in reaction? So the first characteristic is you don't realize you have a choice.
And you can ask yourself, well, just
I'm going to make
assume.
a hand out of this. You know that, don't you?
Go ahead.
I'll print it out and I will laminate it and put it right in front of me on my table.
So if you know that you're, let's say you're having a negative emotion,
Yeah.
you can say, what choice would I have if I went from this reaction to action?
What choice would I have?
Like if I came out of reaction and went into action, because then you'll see the choices.
Right.
And making a choice, going into action when you're in that state usually isn't a good idea.
Yes.
As far as extreme stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the choices that could bring you back to balance. Like I could just choose that I'm going to stop this after 3 minutes.
Yeah. So what choice would I have if I came out of reaction and chose to take action?
And just go into action instead, which means you're actually able to see your choices. Like if you're taking an action, it's because you see a choice, unless you're doing a pull your feathers out, except you're pulling someone else's feathers out. That
Yeah.
would be, I'll pull your feathers out. But no. And another thing is like, if I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years?
Ooh, that's a very good focusing question, isn't it?
And if I don't choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years?
Ooh, that's even better. If I choose this action,
Yeah. What will my life be like in 5 years?
yeah, that's so clever. And yeah, that's inspired. That's really, really smart, because then you're kind of future pacing yourself, aren't you? You're creating. One of the questions I've noticed you ask in the time that I've known you is, what else is possible? And of course, if you are thinking, oh, where would I be in 5 years? You're going into this place of possibility. You're considering that there are more possibilities than feeling rocked by your emotions right now.
Well, every time we feel like upset, we get really small.
Right. And
And we're
actually, you
just,
said contracted, the word contracted. Is that your definition of, so you
yeah.
feel small when you're in a reaction?
Yeah,
Why do you get small? Is it?
everything tightens up. You come in, you make yourself smaller. You're more dense. There's less possibility, right? And because it's protection. It feels like protection. Let me make myself small
Right.
so that this doesn't feel so big, maybe.
So, and it makes you a smaller target as well, a harder target, presumably. I wonder if it's a sort of defensive biological thing
I think
that
so.
we do as children,
Bracing for impact, whatever you wanna call it, that like, just sort of making yourself smaller, maybe less visible, less of a target.
Yeah.
And so if you expand out and you say, "What would my life be like in 5 years?" You can't picture that and stay small at the same time. So if
Yes.
you ask something expansive, it's you would almost feel your body just maybe come out of that contraction a bit, which it could be a good start.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's the whole thing, but it could be, um, like a little tool that you could use. How can I make myself bigger?
Yeah.
How can I make myself so big that this is so small that
Yes, because when we are in the moment of a problem that feels insurmountable, feels like you've gone round in a circle again, you've looped back to where you've been before, and you just keep coming back to that place, it can be quite disconfirming. And that sort of program of here we go again, and I didn't make it through last time. Each time I think that you're doing that loop, you could actually, I guess, be solidifying that pattern, but also coming to the feeling that you'll never actually get out of it. What advice would you give to people? Because I know there's, from people coming to me and from what I'm seeing out and about, what would you say to people that are looping around at the moment with their sense of impossibility?
Well, the thoughts that you think today, in general, are the same thoughts you thought yesterday.
Right.
And we think that we're doing new thoughts, but we're not really doing new thoughts unless we create the space for that. So maybe say, what new thought about this could I think today that I didn't think about this yesterday? What's possible here for me to, what space can I be that could change all of this? Like,
Wow.
what energy, what space, what consciousness can I be that could change this infinity loop for all of reality? It
I mean,
never
that's
comes
a really
back.
big thought, isn't it? Like I was just asking, can you help with this little loop here? But you're saying for the whole of infinity. I mean, that's that spaciousness there and consciousness and awareness that you've just
And
created.
what you're talking about is an infinity loop. So
Yeah.
all the infinity loops that we've trapped ourselves in, so all the infinity loops that you're trapped in,
Yeah.
that you can never escape from, that keep you doing a cycle of insanity, will you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Just like, just stop. Just
Yes.
because when you see something, first of all, see that it's an infinity loop. Here
Mm,
we go again, the same thing. This
yeah.
is the same thing. What can I do this time that might break the loop?
I love that question.
So, like, what action can I take? What choice can I make? But do this in a calm state. So maybe the 3 minute to wait until you're not caught up in the emotion, or get yourself feeling a bit more balanced, and then ask that question. Because
Yeah.
what happens is, as soon as things get better, we don't ask ourselves any of this stuff anymore.
Mm. Well,
But
I noticed actually, like years and years ago when I was a smoker, I couldn't work out why I'd get really hooked, and it was always
Mhm.
because once I'd cured myself of it, I no longer had a problem with it, and then I totally forgot I had a problem with it, and then I'd get back
Yep.
into it again because it's not a problem.
Mhm.
Wow, Sarah, that's amazing. I love what you've shared
One more
here.
thing I wanna say,
Yeah,
Louisa, and what are we addicted to? So all the places we're addicted to drama,
yeah,
what ask yourself, what would it take to destroy and uncreate all of that? All the
wow.
places we're addicted to drama, what if we could choose something else?
That is a really, really strong thought. We have got about 40 seconds left before I need
Yeah.
to roll the end credits. Can you think of like 2 more questions for me that will blow the minds
Oh my
of
goodness.
anyone listening? We now got 30 seconds, sorry. Maybe one question.
So, what energy, space, and consciousness can you be
Yep.
to change your perception of trauma and drama for the rest of infinity?
Fantastic. That is amazing. We're gonna have to go now, but thanks again, Sarah, and catch you next time. Lots of love. Bye for now. Hello. I
Hi. Oh my
realised we're still live. Sorry, I put us back on.